So I went through the experience of 7 candidates who scored scores in between 256 to 283. And this video, I'm going to tell you what they all did to achieve those scores. After that, let's get right into it. So, what do you think is the secret to Step 2 success without watching this video? Type it in the comment section below, and at the end of this video, you'll see if you are right. The first case is USMLE. His video is here on YouTube, so you can check him out. He had a working 283. That's the highest I've ever seen. So what did he do to achieve this score? He used Uworld, basically. He did it 3 to 4 times. Why I said 3 to 4 was at 3, then the 4th time I don't think he really finished it. But basically 3 to 4 passes of Uworld. He also used Anking. First of all, Anki is a space evaluation software, and Anking is a deck that contains most of the relevant concepts you need for Step 2. So he also went through Anking deck. Then he made some cards on Anki, like self-made cards. Maybe later I'll do a video on Anki in more detail, but he created some cards on the questions he got wrong on doing his second pass of Uworld. But he didn't do that on the first pass because for him, he felt that was just getting to know, getting used to the questions. But by the second pass, questions he didn't get correctly, he took both of them and made cards based on those questions on Anki to review later. So for him, he just basically used 2 major resources, Uworld and Anki, and he was able to get a score of 283. So the next case study is AC Medicine. Again, his videos are YouTube. Scored 268. That's pretty impressive. So what were the resources he went through? He went through the Amboss question bank, system-wise. He also used the Amboss library. He used high-yield Amboss concept. So in the Amboss, there are segments that contains the also most commonly tested on the exams, the highest yield concept. So I have the 200 questions, I have the ones on the 86 risk factor. So he did that also. He also did Uworld 1 pass. Then we went to CMS forms. CMS South Atlantic Mastery Series forms. Did about 3 per system. If you don't know what CMS forms are, you can check out my earlier video on Step 2. You did the Uworld self-assessment 1 to 3. The MBM is 9 to 14, and the free 120. And these are the resources that netted him a score of 268. Let's go to the third case. Yusef Tanas, again, his video is on YouTube. Scored 273, really impressive. He had a strong foundation. He got to 17 on Step 1, so I think it really helped him. He did a pass of Uworld, random untimed, and he scored 91% of his first pass. It's testament to a strong foundation. He also did Anking that ASEM also did. With the MBM is 9 to 15, the old and new free 120, Uworld tape assessment 1 to 3, and some Amboss blocks. While he just did a pass of Uworld, MBM is 9 to 15. That's about 7 MBMs. Each of these MBMs contains 200 questions. The 7 times 200, that's about 1,400 questions. Old and new free 120, that's about 120 questions each, making 240, so 1,640. Was self-assessment 1 to 3, each contained 160 questions, so 3 of that is 480. In summary, he did about 2,000, 2,100 questions as assessment in addition to the Uworld. He also did some Amboss blocks, so that will give him a score of 273. Karim, another candidate that scored really high, 279. Again, Karim built a strong foundation on his Step 1 by scoring 80 to 90% on his MBMEs. It was actually intentional. Only he didn't need to score this to pass Step 1. Intentionally thought it till he was able to achieve this to build a strong foundation for Step 2. So after that, in Step 2, we did 2 passes of Uworld, 2 passes of Amboss. He did Uworld for Step 3 also. He did 2 passes of CMS forms. He did MBMEs. He did free 120. So of course, this is a lot of questions, and he's getting pace when he was studying was do more questions, and that's what he did. So Stanley, he scored 267, still impressive. We did a pass of Uworld. We did Amboss questions for ethics, vaccinations, and the high ethics sections. Did MBMEs 10 to 15, 3 passes. That was really impressive. MBMEs 10 to 15 is about 6 MBMEs having 1,200 questions. So doing 3 passes of that comes down to 3,600 question, which is like the weight of questions of a question bank. I mean, Amboss has just about 1,200 questions for Step 2. Now Uworld, that's 4,000. So basically, he did the pass of Uworld and he did the question bank worth of the MBMs. Then he did the last 3 CMS forms. He did the old and new free 120s and did Uworld self-assessment 1 to 3. Again, that's about 480 questions. And he was able to get the score of 267. Judah, as yours truly, I scored 66. And if you have watched my free video, you know this has not been new to you. I did a pass of Uworld and Amboss. I did the last 3 CMS forms in each of the specialties. I did the MBMs 9 to 15 ones. Did the free 120. I also used some divine intervention podcasts and some Anki self-made cards for my incorrect during my MBM review. So during my MBM review, the questions I got correctly, I actually put down the points that I would have known that would have made me get that question correctly. I made Anki cards to review later. So this is what I did to score 266. And the last case study we're going to be studying is Simit K or Reddit. She scored 280. Again, this is like the second highest score I've ever say. She did a pass of Uworld, she did a pass of Amboss. In addition, she used up to date, so make sure she was up to date on the guidelines and for more explanation from time. She also used the Dorian Anki deck. She used some of Divine Intervention podcasts and some Divine Intervention podcast Anki decks. She used self-made Anki decks for weaker areas. Occasionally, she also used Sketchy Clinical for some topics she felt she needed that. CMS forms, she did about to tell about the available CMS forms. And that was what she did to get the score of 280. She also said she had a friend, she or he anyway, pardon gender, had a friend that scored 280, and what they just did was 2 passes of Uworld. 1 pass done over a year carefully, and another pass dedicated, and according to her, that he or her again, that was what gave the person a score of 280. Of course, the person may have done some assessment that she wasn't mentioned. So what's the conclusion? Just do more questions. That's the summary of everything I can say. That's one thing that is common. I mean, different people did different things. Some people use Anki to supplement, some people didn't. But the summary is 2 more questions. The more questions you do for step 2, the better for you. I have a lot of questions available. You can choose to do Uworld, you can choose to do Amboss. If I were to guide a student prepare for the exam, I would advise do 2 to 3 passes of Uworld. Have a target score you want to get. Let's say 260, because nowadays 260 should be fair enough. You don't really need to score a 280. 250 is enough to make you stand out. Do 2 passes of Uworld. Take your assessments. If you are still a bit away from 260, do another pass of Uworld. Take another assessment. If you are still some ways away from that, you can move to the CMS forms. Review them. A pass should be sufficient. Take another assessment. Assess where you are. Then you can move to the MBMAs and start seeing them. If by doing 2 passes of Uworld, a pass of CMS, so far, you must target score of 260 from the MBMA assessment. You don't have done in taking Amboss. You can take step 3 like our second case study did. So just do more questions. In summary, have a target score. Don't just score it through preparation, willing to take anything. Have a target score and have a lot of time in there. 6 months, some people with strong foundation can achieve this in 3 to 4 months, while some would have may need up to a year. If you can afford to give it that time, give it that time. Do as many questions as you need to do to get your score to your targets. Good luck.